like, everybody. Share the show. What's up, Substack? What's up, Insta? Grab one more thing. Good Lord. Get started. So much stuff going on. Welcome, it's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. It's a pretty rockin' Motang Monday, everybody. For those of you that don't know, Motang Monday is a phrase that we originated back when Trump had at least half his brain functioning.
Michigan gave us Motang.
Time has passed, and the man has not gotten healthier. As a matter of fact, the picture that they showed in the Daily Beast earlier today, it's not good. It's pretty. I'll see if I can dig it up later if I even need to warn you about that. And we're going to jump straight into stuff today, but let's start with this. Let's say hi to the chat room, by the way. Welcome. How are you? And also our lovely folks over at Instagram. Can you do me a favor? Can you throw in just an emoji in your, just say something in the chat? I know we got a lot of viewers. We got a lot of people watching over there, but I need some activity. It doesn't have to be anything personal. And since it's a Meta-owned company, perhaps an angry, the swearing emoji? That'll work. Just fire up one of those. And if you're on Facebook, same thing. There you go. See, Lisa knows. And Krabby. It's good. I don't know if the crab helps or if that's just an astrology thing, but I don't mind. Either way, there we go. When is Trump's photo not scary? Well, you're right. I would say it's scary for his followers. That would be the difference, I hear. Because I talk about this, and I have a hard time discussing this with our dear guests like John this morning. John Fugelsang joined us, and again, we're going to be doing that lovely meathook.live/not show this weekend. Which is not the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We're doing that Saturday. It's going to be fantastic. Great guests, everything. It's only $20.26 for a ticket because we're focusing on 2026. God damn it. So go over to Meathook, as in EET, not as in the ending of Cobra Meathook. Obscure enough for you? .live/not N-O-T. And that'll get you there. There you go. See, this is the YouTube people know how to do it. Although I don't know that helps on YouTube. I think what the YouTube people have to do, if you guys want to do like anything extra, is go to our videos that are on the channel and go in there and just type something in the comments. When you see this later or you see a piece of this, that helps us out immensely too. And look, I know that the difference between me and a lot of the other channels is that all my people are real. So we are mighty. but we are genuine, and I think that's the key. Now the thing is, Trump did this thing. Yeah, like, yeah. I'll have to. Where maybe that's it. Maybe this is where he's it was at the White House Easter egg thing. But goddamn, he just looks like a bag of shit. Now, you're like, granted, he looks like a half-empty bag of shit would be the interesting thing. He's usually a full bag of shit. And I'll dig it up in a little bit. But let's get started into our videos because too much to cover. And not the least of which is I want to jump straight into, and this is why it comes up too, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is on the Daily Beast, okay? This is a video I showed earlier. We're going to go through it so that I can have a little time with this. But he drags his kids out. And at one point, I like, leave your kids out of it. Stop it. Stop using them as props. Let them stand somewhere else. If you're going to talk to the press about stuff and it's not going to deal with Easter, you know it's not going to deal with Easter, send them away. Be a fucking man. Don't do this in front of your children. It's bad enough they'll probably have to see it later, but, I mean, seriously. But this kid, whichever one of the many this is, he looks horrified half the time. I feel really bad for all these kids. Again, children do not pick their parents. So, like, all these kids, like, hands off, leave them alone. No criticism whatsoever, period. Lovely this morning with John and Al. Yes, Andy. Yes, absolutely. And, like, I just felt bad for them. I felt bad for the kids because he's going, I'm here with these kids for Easter. You know, like, fuck you, dude. You dug this hole. Climb out of it. Stop handing a shovel to your kids and going, you know, if this was the 30s, you guys would be working in a factory. So this is the title of this on Daily Beast. Hegseth melts down in front of own kids in rant to save job. And apparently that is already not, it's too late. Now, will they admit to it up until the point where he's gone? I mean, look at the tariffs. No. The tariffs are permanent. They're not going anywhere. There are no exceptions. Everybody gets the same shit. We're dead serious. Oh, well, except that. And accept all these. And we'll cut half of them. And we'll 90-day pause. But right. This guy it stands firm until he bitches out. And that's what's clearly going to happen in this case. And like, I made this point earlier with John, who was great, and we love to have you back on the show. John, people should bother John about being on the show, and I should come on his show. I'm just saying, it would help. Anyways, this idea of like two wicks being lit at the same time, and neither of us know which one is shorter. Either the wick is lit where he has to talk to Congress, or that he quits or / is fired. He resigns, you know, out of respect for the president. One of those is going to go off. If it's the congressional one, the other one will go off too. So the question goes, well, why don't you just go ahead and call it a fucking day? So that is clearly what's going on here. And it's no surprise that this dude is completely ineffective at doing this job. He's an asshole. Even his besties that he dragged along with him can't stand working for him. And again, can I just say on a personal note, chat room, and I think many of you probably feel the same way, that if I had a bureaucracy the size of the fucking Pentagon to back up everything I needed done, that there was literally no end, this motherfucker's chief of staff has a deputy chief of staff who has a chief of staff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, do you know how dense the fucking, like, the body count over there is? If you need to get shit done and you need to organize stuff, I mean, it's as good as automating every fucking thing. And the fact that this guy can be this lazy and lame a fuck up he could literally, because it's SecDef, on behalf of the president, I need an entire staff to do this thing for me. And it would be, some of the stuff could be embarrassing. They could fucking paint his garage and it would be annoying and it would be a scandal and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is he literally could do it for all the stuff he needs to ultimately do, including, hey, bring me the special phone. I need to message this to my team. Like, they're always fucking there. The SecDef has access to an equivalent of the football and a skiff all the fucking time. If you or I had that, holy shit. Like, it goes even beyond being lazy. Like, you have to almost be doing it on purpose to be this big a fuck up like this guy is. You have to work to fuck up a lead like that. You know what I mean? It's like you're playing on an NBA team. You've been assigned to this NBA team. You don't play basketball worth a shit, but you've got every great player around you, knows the court back and forth, and the other team is just a series of your own past fuck-ups that will be portrayed in this analogy as a group of middle school kids who only know how to play Foursquare. And they are fucking you up. I don't get it. Like, it is, I understand that, yeah, I agree it's lazy as fuck. But it's like actively lazy. Is Hegseth ever alone? Well, that's the thing. The problem with the maggots and the maggots surrounding Trump specifically is that they think they got a kiss my ass card from the fucking government to act however they want because they know the boss and the boss will back them no matter what they do. All right, I'll show you. And let me show you the moment when I knew that Hegseth is fucked. Because Trump will tap dance around this horse shit left and right. I understood. Check this out. This is from this morning. This is, like, he comes forward. Look at this kid. Like, I feel so bad. There's his wife. And then this kid. This is one of the kids from his previous marriage. I don't know if, like, can you imagine her, like, go with your dad? Like, ugh. Because they have a baby together, but the rest of the kids are from his first two relationships. One of which he was in when he started fucking this lady, got her pregnant, left his wife, and married her. You know, family values. Jesus Christ. And you know what's odd? Is these assholes will go off on, like, the left's loose sexuality, people being bi, people being poly, all that kind of stuff. They'll mock it endlessly. And yet these, like, serial faux monogamist, alleged Christian faux evangelicals can philander. And, I mean, look at Newt Gingrich, like, serving his ex-wife with divorce papers when she's recovering from cancer surgery. Just, like, Trump and, just burying his kid's mother on a fucking golf course with no headstone. Don, Eric, I still don't fucking get it, man. I know why Ivanka is not around. I know why she and Jared have, like, pinched every fucking penny they could find and beat feet to never be around this motherfucker ever again if they don't have to be. But and maybe that's what's happening because I haven't seen a lot of Don and Eric. I've seen Eric defend him a little bit on Newsmax, but for the most part, they're just out there making money. But I don't know, how do you do, maybe, the only other answer is you hated your mom. Like, I don't get it. Fuck. So crazy. All right, here we go. So this is him dragging his poor kids up, or his new wife pushing them forward. Like, go stand next to him so they can't attack.
Hey, we're happy to be here at the Easter egg roll, I'll tell you that. Be with the family, beautiful day. And President Trump has changed the country.
President Trump has changed the country. Yeah. We used to have a functioning military and we could keep a secret, but now fuck that. Like, and this is also his media training from being on Fox. He does a lot of looking right down the barrel. He talks to the camera a lot. It's aggravating.
Creating opportunities for families all across America to better their lives. That's what make America great.
What? Better their lives? What? Yeah, teaching them how to be bootstrappers. They've forgotten how to watch their entire fortune collapse and have to rebuild it from scratch. It teaches character. It's tough love.
It's all about.
Do you have anything you want to say, sir, about the Signal chat controversy?
What a big surprise that a few leakers get fired.
A few leakers get fired. Okay, dipshit. There's your first mistake. Because as we say around here, come on, kids, say it with me, you can't leak a lie. Hashtag you can't leak a lie. You can lie to the press. You can tell the press something that is untrue, but that's not a leak. It never will be. You cannot leak a lie. You can only leak something that is true. So the fact that he's calling these people leakers is an admission of guilt.
A bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And you know what? We could settle this. Let's just settle this shit. Release the grand jury transcripts from the Mueller investigation. That'll do it. Won't that settle it, everybody? That'll settle it right the fuck up. And hell, reopen it and allow Mueller to look at Trump's finances because those were off limits. And if you can't, that would be the motive part of why he was doing a lot of this. So if you don't have means, motive, and opportunity, you've got motive and opportunity, but you can't prove means. You cannot, give a recommendation for charges unless you can establish motive, in that you wouldn't as a prosecutor most of the time. And if you're not allowed to look at motive, especially when it's financial, you'll never be able to press charges. And they were counting on that. So fuck off with this garbage. And look at his face. Look at this bullshit. Look at this. Huh? This is a guy who is trying everything he can to deflect his fuck up. And this is nobody else's mistake. Well, except Trump hiring him. But this is like the existence of Signal isn't the problem. Even the other people he put on there isn't the problem. He did this.
Answers for a bunch of lies and on hoaxes, time and time and time again.
So what does that have to do with this? Because it's true, it's provable. So you denying it? You're gonna release the FOIA request for those Signal chats because they have to be preserved. Would make us all look like assholes, I guess, huh? So you're just gonna be releasing those, I suppose.
And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it.
What the fuck are you talking about? All you motherfuckers do is use Russia as a disparaging, as a pejorative for a true investigation. Of course, Trump says this all the time. He calls them fake news constantly. The nobody is anybody with any fucking sense.
This is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled.
They're not anonymous, dum-dum.
Employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations.
Well,
with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters.
Okay, the bumper sticker.
And anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter. So I'm happy to be here at the Easter egg roll with...
Also, by the way, not old news. This is yesterday, motherfucker. This is brand new. The old news, which I still, hey, say all this stuff under oath. You could put this all to bed. You could finish this shit off immediately. But this is yesterday, dumbass.
Dad and my kids, because,
Look at this kid. I fucking feel so bad for them. Like, look at these kids that my wife shoved over here. I think she's next to her.
This is what we're doing it for. These kids right here.
Asshole. Leave your kids out of it.
This is why we're fighting the fake news media. This is why we're fighting slash and burn Democrats.
Is it why you're leaking attack plans on unsecure internet apps?
We're fighting hoaxsters. This group, no, this group right here, full of hoaxsters.
All right, I gotta say, he's starting to lose his rhetorical erection here. Bunch of hoaxsters. That's what you guys are, okay? Bunch of hoaxsters and tricksters. People being flippant. That's what I see. All right. Who wants to beat erasers at the end of school? Like it has that kind of an energy.
Peddle anonymous sources from leakers with axes to grind.
Why would they have an axe to grind? I guess that's another question. They're leaking real information. They're not anonymous people have access to grind. So whoever these people are, you're kind of cutting into that anonymous thing if you're admitting that you probably know who they are and they have a reason to be pissed. Right?
Yes. Put it all together as if it's some news story. And when we know it, we know exactly what it is. So I'm really...
Yes, we do. We know exactly what it is. You're a fuck up. You fucked up. And you're not enough of a man to admit it. That's what it is. You fucked up.
Proud of what we're doing for the president.
Twice that we know of.
Fighting hard across the board, and I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs with my kids. Thank you very much.
I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs with my kids. Look at this. Look at these kids. Look at, especially this kid. Like, it's fucking brutal. Now, at the beginning of this thing, hold on, let me see if we can find the moment.
I want to say, sir, about the signal chat controversy.
You know, what a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. And on hoaxes, time and time and time again. And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it. See, this is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees.
There it is. Former employees. Like, that's the moment where you know this is fucked. This is like he kind of recovers a little bit and sticks the angry landing at the end of the interview. But this is the moment where he breaks.
It does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash them.
Mm-hmm. Former employees. That break right there, that's the dead giveaway. That's where you know Hegseth knows he's fucked. Former employees, you know. I know that. Why wouldn't you think I know that? Of course I know that. I know that. I know that. Why wouldn't I know that? Of course I know that. Why you didn't have to say that. I know that. I know that. Why would I know that? Of course. I mean, these are anonymous people. It's all a hoax. Everyone knows that. I know that. You know that. Everyone knows. Of course I know that. That's what that is. That's where his break is. God damn. And according to increasingly like verbose sources, people who are like, I mean, oh yeah, or whatever his name is, like however you pronounce it. He said it in Politico. The other guys who were just fired on Friday, they'll either speak to congressional leadership or in a closed door session or something like that before they talk to the press, or they'll end up talking to the press, or somebody just overheard them at a restaurant going, "Fuck this dude," which is really what's going on in a bunch of these articles. Now, meanwhile, Trump came out and talked to the reporters at the Easter egg roll, and I think largely tried to defend all of his current fuck-ups. Didn't go to church, went to this thing for a little bit, and then went golfing. Okay, then they go. There's Walt. By the way, if you'd noticed, real quick, there's Walt Nada is right over here. There he is. The guy who organized the flooding of the server room at Mar-a-Lago. The guy who took the boxes back and forth from the little storage room to Trump's office. Walt Nada rewarded for loyalty as his number two.
Aluminum and steel.
Hold on.
I think they're going very well. We're going to make a lot of money. We're already at 25% on cars and aluminum and steel, taking in a lot of money, more money than this country's seen. And that's just the beginning. I don't know yet.
Also, more money than this country's seen? Where do you think he is? Fucking Paraguay? We have the biggest economy on the planet.
Going to be briefed on it right now. Like
No offense to Paraguay, but you get what I'm saying.
To the Oval Office. Say it.
Would you like to go?
Well, I don't know. I just have to look at the timing. We just lowered the flags throughout the country.
It's part of Russia.
So I will be giving you a full detail over the next 3 days. But we had very good meetings on Ukraine, Russia. We had very good meetings actually on Iran too. We'll see how that works out. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Next step is we need a little time, but we had very.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I'm guessing. What do you think? 2 weeks? 2 weeks and/or a very short period of time in the very near future.
Meetings on Iran. We had very good, and the tariffs are going very well, as you know. Everybody wants to negotiate.
No, they don't.
He's a very good man who loved the world, and he especially loved people that were having a hard time, and that's good with me.
So he preached tolerance for
I think he's talking about the Pope.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I do. I really do. I mean, I hear they're doing that whole thing again. Here we go again. Just a waste of time. He is doing a great job.
Why do you still have
Okay, so they asked him about Signal. This is the part where they asked him about Signal.
Because he's doing a great job. Ask
by what metric?
the Houthis how he's doing.
There's a hearing today on the Alien Enemies Act in the DC District Court. Your thoughts on that, Mr. President?
Well, we were elected to.
Also, can I just say that what the fuck does the SecDef have to do with how well the Houthis are doing? First of all, they still exist. I don't know what to tell you as far as like what do you like? Don't act like you wiped them out like you allegedly did with ISIS. But why does this? I mean, the SecDef helps carry this stuff out. It's not his strategy. Like he's just a conduit at that point from the president to like. I guess the liaison, once they get to the point where they're calling attacks and giving the go, it's the president that does that, not the Secretary of Defense. It's so weird.
The mess of this country. And we had millions and millions of people come in who are criminals, who are murderers, who are everything you can imagine, drug lords, drug dealers. They came in from prisons and from mental institutions. And I was elected.
I mean, hey, he's playing the hits.
Move them out, among many other things. And that's what we're doing.
Mr. President?
They're actually not, though. I mean, they're on track to have fewer deportations and removals than Biden did in his final year.
Ask the Houthis how much dysfunction they have. There's none. Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years.
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with their faith in the Secretary of Defense, weirdo.
No, he's doing a great job.
If anything, it's in spite of it.
It's fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to.
Why would they be disgruntled? First of all, he hired them. They're his buddies. He brought his bros, and his bros fucking hate him.
Get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what.
Right, but these are okay. Fine, drain the swamp, get rid of the deep state. He brought these motherfuckers with him. How do you not know that? Also, reporters, if you're going to follow up going, he hired the people he brought in. He fired the people he brought in. The people that are quitting or that you're firing were part of his team he brought. These aren't deep state actors. These aren't, fucking holdovers from the Biden administration. They're not deep fucking state.
So you don't always have friends when you do that.
Should he stop using?
You don't always have friends. You don't have friends to start with, stupid.
I'm going to be there. I hope to be.
The McLeod course, are going to open that?
We're opening a fantastic project there, yeah. And I hope I'm going to get to see it.
We look forward to seeing it.
It's going to be great. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, will you comply with Supreme Court?
Mr. President, immigrants, you've ordered a lot of them to leave the country, but Travel to Haiti is almost nearly impossible because flights have been suspended. What do you make of that?
Well, I make of the fact that we have to have a safe country. If people are in our country illegally, and if they have records that are very bad in particular, we have to get them out.
Okay, she asked him, by the way, about, like, you gave Haitians an order to leave the country to self-deport or be deported, but there are no commercial flights because we suspended commercial flights to Haiti, so they couldn't self-deport if they wanted to. So the idea, he doesn't give a shit. He wants them to just go to fucking Mexico or get in a boat and go adrift. He doesn't care where they go as long as they're not here. So,
as you know, elected on the basis that we would have very little crime in our country. They don't want illegal immigrants. We've closed up the border. The border is now the strongest border we've ever had.
These are Haitians who came legally through that Biden-era program, who their communities, even in Texas, conservative voters saying these people should not be forced to leave.
Well, if they came legally, then they're going to be in good shape. Okay?
So you're not going to deport them? There's a Thursday deadline, Mr. Trump.
He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't have any idea at all. He has no idea how any of this shit runs. He's there to sign pages of Project 2025 and then go golfing. And sign hats. I forgot sign hats.
I look forward to working with you one day, sir. I really do. Both my parents are working.
Anyways, so that's basically the end of it. He doesn't answer any more questions, but largely this is just him running interference. Here's what you need to know most about this, is that as much as he likes being at war with the press, or he thinks it's some sort of like power position that he has and he likes dunking on them, he does not like it when he feels like they have leverage on him in that they're on the right side of a story and he's not. Even if he thinks he can push back on it and say Pete's doing a great job and all that stuff, you can tell through all the secondary reporting that he doesn't like it. And you can tell by his response to the questions that he's just covering to this point, hoping it goes away again. And it isn't going to. It is not. So he hates it. He gets it. You can tell he gets irritated. That's why he said it's an old issue. It's, water under the bridge is his attitude. But it's not going away. It's not going away. And there is one of these wicks will burn out first, which is he'll either answer questions in front of Congress because they'll have an appropriations hearing, and every Democrat is going to ask him whether he thinks that attack plans, as they're been given a go and as they're being carried out, are classified or are top secret. And if he says no, he'll lose his job. And if he says yes, he should lose his job because he mishandled classified information. Like he's in a box of his own making. He painted himself into a dumb corner. Yeah. So now the next one. Okay. So this is, I think, yeah. Caroline Leavitt also responded to this shit, and we'll see if we can tell. Like, she's obviously out there Sean Spicering her way through this storyline, and you can tell this was posted 8 hours ago, so really early this morning in response to the story come out yesterday.
Timothy Cardinal Dolan in New York reacting to the death of Pope Francis just moments ago.
But we also offer gratitude to God for the gift that he was. We don't call it.
Okay, I'm going to skip past any of the situation around that, and we will get to the actual story because that is a very private matter for Catholics to deal with. Here we go.
Your thoughts that might have been relayed to you. To have any chance to talk to the vice president about his last meeting with the Pope?
I spoke to the vice president's team this morning, and they expressed how excited and grateful they were for the opportunity to have met with the Pope just yesterday. And of course, we know the Pope has gone to be with the Lord this morning, and I spoke to the president about that as.
Sorry, do they have a previously scheduled meeting or?
And he has put out a statement to say God bless the Pope and all those who loved him. He touched millions of lives throughout his tenure as the head of the Catholic Church. And so it's a solemn day for Catholics around the world. And we are praying for all those who loved the Pope and believed in him.
Caroline, absolutely. And we were shocked to find out in the morning. And obviously we changed the format significantly for this Titanic news event. But
Thanks, Brian. Okay, this is the annual Easter roll, and then they'll do this. I want to get to the stuff about
the First Lady has overseen the careful coordination of this event along.
Is it the North Korean part of it?
Roll the eggs, but also to partake in many other celebrations and festivities. So it's a joyous day for families who are traveling from all around the country to celebrate Easter Monday with the president and the first lady. And you'll be hearing from both of them later this afternoon.
He's still got his like dopey hand wag.
All right, I did actually take it as a negative. I think when corporations are helping out a children's event, I think it's a positive. But Caroline, let's talk about what's happening with this Kilmar Garcia. He is over in El Salvador, and evidently the senator did every Sunday show, Van Hollen did every Sunday show to make
including Fox News.
Everyone knows that he is okay. Watch.
Who did pay for this trip?
This was an officially cleared, congressional trip, cleared on a bipartisan basis. Yes, like every other trip that, like the trip Chris.
By the way, the House members that just went down Johnson would not sign off on the funding. Thune signed off on his funding, which he does. But Johnson wouldn't, so the House members flew on their own dime down to El Salvador.
Home took with her fashion show before CCOT, like the trip that 5 Republican members of the House took, like the day before when they went into CCOT. I can tell you, so yes, it was an official trip.
Right, that was an official trip. I don't know if any more will follow. What do you think people should know about the person that Senator Van Hollen visited?
How about that it has nothing to do with the person, it has to do with the rule of law, and if you eliminate the rule of law where you can just snatch people and call them gang members and never have to prove it in court of law and send them to a fucking gulag in El Salvador, we don't exist as a country anymore? Asshole.
They should know the truth about this man.
Great, then prove it in fucking court. Where's the problem?
An illegal alien, a foreign terrorist, and a...
No. Simmer down. Simmer the fuck down. Even with the whole, drug dealers or terrorists part of it, nobody's buying that shit anyways. And just defining, criminal gangs as terror organizations so that you can use an authorized use of military force type of, war on terror reason to bomb other countries or to expel people is not a real thing. It's bullshit. It's made up. It's apocryphal. It's nonsense. It's silly. It's goofy. It's ridiculous. And it is... I don't want to hear anything about freedom or liberty from these assholes ever again.
MS-13 gang member who violated our country's laws by coming here in the first place. And shame on Senator Chris Van Hollen and the entire Democrat Party who wasted...
You work for a guy who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 fucking years, and before that, his longest running friendship was Roy fucking Cohn. So, no, I don't have any shame about a senator from Maryland going down to check on a constituent from there who had a withhold order to keep him from being deported because he has a wife and children who live in the United States.
Sunday going on every television show in the country to advocate for the return of an illegal criminal gang member.
Actually, the return of Garcia is incidental to the whole thing. What he's advocating for is the Constitution.
Is a litany of evidence proving this individual's ties.
Yeah, tattoos and a hat, and the fact that he was working at a Home Depot, picking up odd jobs at one point, and the part that now that he's part of a roofing union. Let me guess, MS-13 has the roofers unions?
MS-13 that has been confirmed in 2 different courts.
No, it hasn't. And again, there was never a full trial of those things. It's just an establishment of probable cause. You have reason to believe. That's not the same thing. And it never should be the same thing.
There have been multiple law enforcement officers who have affirmed his MS-13 gang affiliation. And this is who the Democrat Party is advocating for.
No, they're advocating for the Constitution and the fact that he had a withholding order and he was never found guilty of a crime.
Ridiculous. The president, this White House, the entire administration will continue.
Doesn't give a shit about the Constitution? Yes. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
To focus on deporting these illegal alien gang members and criminals from our nation's interior and enforcing our country's immigration laws. That's what the president was reelected to do. And I would ask.
No, I think he was elected to get rid of the worst, and then he was going to do giant busloads of strangers, like rounding up entire families and entire communities at some point down the line after he got the go-ahead from the big agribusiness. But this guy hasn't been found guilty of a crime. This guy wasn't in prison. He wasn't somebody we've been holding or that was charged with murder or any of that stuff. He just wasn't. Not even close. Wasn't an enforcer, wasn't a fucking bag man, didn't run drugs, don't have, like his domestic violence stuff is the worst thing you could say about him. And even that, please, I tell you what, send Matt Gaetz and Trump and all of his asshole friends who smack around their wives with him to CCOT. If that's the standard, knock yourself the fuck out. But go through the law. Go through the courts.
The overwhelming majority of Americans continue to support the deportation of illegal criminals. A recent
What defines someone as a criminal? Lady who wears a cross she doesn't believe in around her neck and is posing as, I guess, a member of the CW's version of Little House on the Prairie. I think you'd make a magnificent Nelly. Anyways, what makes him a criminal? Tattoos? A hat? For real. What makes him a criminal? Now, you can say he entered the country illegally. That's fine. If he comes into the country and then he establishes that he has an asylum claim and he's got a wife and children here, and that has to be adjudicated, and he got a withholding order so that you couldn't kick him out until you could hear that case, then you live up to that. Not because of him, and not because he's ultimately going to be found innocent or kept here or not deported, or if he's going to be deported, he'll be deported to a third country, not El Salvador, and certainly not to fucking CCOT. You do it because America matters.
CBS poll showed that 89% of the American people support deporting illegal criminals from our homeland. So
the problem is he doesn't count. That's not who they're talking about. They're not talking about a dude who's part of a roofers union who hammers metal sheeting flat for a living, used to pick up jobs in a fucking Home Depot, and has a wife and kids. That's not who they're talking about.
It will continue to do.
They're talking about Matt Gaetz, actually, if you want to know. And I'm just saying.
While Democrats continue to trip over themselves while ignoring American citizens whose lives have been forever impacted by.
Real quick, whose life has been forever impacted by that dude? Him in particular. So, because I'm struck by the idea that you happen to think he should go to CCOT because you think he is the same skin color as somebody that you blame for the death of somebody else. It's his last name Garcia seems to be enough for you to equate him with someone who had a Hispanic last name who killed somebody. And if that's the standard, just fucking say so. Just say so. Just say the standard is now anybody who's vaguely got the same skin shade as, as a murderer or something. I guess we'll go, you look like a young Eileen Warnock, and off you go.
The actions and the crimes of these illegal criminals like Patty Morin, who we were so honored to have at the White House to share her daughter's story.
Her daughter was not attacked by this dude. He didn't do it. Nobody has ever accused Garcia of being anywhere near this woman's daughter at all. What's your fucking point? For real. Is it just because she was killed by a Venezuelan? And to you, an El Salvadoran is the same as a Venezuelan, and so fuck them. They should all be in jail because of what one of the others did. I got to say, it doesn't look really good for any of the Americans of German descent that live here.
Last week, Senator Van Hollen has never called her, has never reached out to her family, yet he has spent hours now fawning over this illegal alien who is tied to a vicious gang that has taken the lives of.
Tied to? Tied to? I'm sorry. I was promised that he was a violent member of the gang, not tied to. Because I got to say, like, your necklace ties you to Mike Pillow, and Mike Pillow's cross that he wears ties him to Timothy McVeigh. You're 2 degrees away from Timothy McVeigh using your logic.
Citizens, it's unbelievable.
I was disappointed that no one even broke out the field interview with the gang unit that interviewed him out when he was arrested originally, was taken into custody. They said he had the tattoos. He's wearing the Chicago Bulls hat. They had an informant who they...
What? A Chicago Bulls hat?
Still trust, said that...
They got an informant that they still trust to turn over a bunch of people to them.
Even had a ranking within MS-13. They never talked about the trafficking case that for some reason no luggage going from Texas to Maryland. We don't know what he was doing for a living to allow him.
Sorry, he had no luggage going from Texas to Maryland while he's in the country? I guess, when was this? So no, so that's the other standard. You're a light traveler.
Staying living there. Senator Kennedy did come out and say, yeah, this guy looks like a really bad guy, but the administration made a mistake sending him to El Salvador. Do you feel that way?
Of course she doesn't, dumbass.
We did not make a mistake. We have always maintained that
they literally said they made a mistake.
This was an individual who needed to be deported from...
Then take him through the courts.
Our country. The president swore to the American public he was going to deport illegal criminals.
So you don't have. So where was this picture being carried? Seriously, did you have it in your purse? Was Kilmeade carrying this picture in his wallet for years?
Especially those who have been involved in violent gangs like MS-13 that have terrorized.
Yeah, he looks like one of these YouTubers that does like weightlifting programs.
American communities. And so to the Democrat Party, who thinks that they are going to bring this foreign terrorist back to the United States of America to live a peaceful and happy life, that is never going to happen.
Okay, so that's good to know. He's definitely coming back then.
Not only is this an MS-13 gang member, but he is also an illegal alien who broke our nation's laws to come here. And not only is it a slap in the face.
So did Elon Musk.
American citizens whose lives who have been put in danger or in many cases lost at the hands of these illegal alien criminals.
Not at his.
Gang members, but it's also a slap in the face to the millions of legal immigrants who came to our country the right way, waited their turn, and paid their dues. We have a legal...
Yeah, we have a legal system. You can't go against the legal system that we have in existence and the orders by judges at half the time, and then the other time, you know, make an appeal towards legality.
Immigration system for a reason. The president is going to continue to uphold that.
It's very hard for me to play devil's advocate with this story because I feel passionate that he does not belong here, but I do try. I want to end with this. From New York Times, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth back in the news about staffers had to be dismissed and a second signal chat that took place. Where's the president stand on this?
He's been ignoring the whole thing, and he's behind him 100% until he fires him, and then it's none of your fucking business, and how dare you bring it up.
The president stands strongly behind Secretary Hegseth.
Okay, he's doomed.
Who is doing a phenomenal job leading.
Okay, so the job is the destruction of the Pentagon? Okay.
Pentagon. And this is what happens when the entire Pentagon is working against you and working against the monumental...
Whoa! Whoa, lady, hang the fuck out. Wait. The whole Pentagon is working against you? The whole Pentagon. Against who? Pete Hegseth or Trump or both? Jesus Christ. All of them. The whole Pentagon. That's a lot. I gotta say, that's a lot. It takes work to make that many enemies. And considering who the enemies the Pentagon is usually pushing back on, I'm sort of stunned they have the time to do it.
That you are trying to implement. Secretary Hegseth.
Hegseth. It's pronounced Kegbeath. Excuse me. And also, what changes? Seriously, from within the Pentagon? What are you talking about? Honestly, other than like knocking off some DEI studies or something like that he's pushed forward, or removing fucking Jackie Robinson's website from the DOD page. After he's a decorated World War II veteran. What changes? And maybe if that's what's pissing them off, maybe they have good reason.
Hegseth was nominated for this position because he is standing up for the war fighter, the men and women in...
Sorry, nobody else would? So Trump only knows one guy. The only guy he knows that will quote-unquote stand up for the war fighters is a fucking drunk, philandering, gropey, asshole, former Fox weekend host? That's the best you could do. You can't find anybody else. You managed to dig up fucking Pam Bondi after you had to replace Matt Gaetz. But Hegseth is invaluable to this effort. Why? His organizational skills?
Who are putting their lives on the line to protect our country and our homeland. And
yeah, you mean the people that he's putting in harm's way because he's sharing details of their mission as it's being carried out on unsecured channels? The very people he's endangering the lives of? Dipshit.
There have been people at that building who don't like the change the secretary is trying to bring.
Yes, they would prefer these things remain top secret.
They are leaking and they are lying to the mainstream media.
All right, well, which is which? What are they lying about? Tell me the lies. Obviously, the leaks are just true. What are they lying about?
Seen this game played before. The secretary is doing a tremendous job, and the president stands strongly behind him.
You do realize these are the people that he brought in that are being fired or leaving.
And I also think it's important to bring up that this chat happened before confirmation. While confirmation was taking place, and also it just is kind of in very.
Yeah, but he was acting SecDef, and he was still sharing secret information. Oh, no. And also, he started it before then, but he was confirmed when he did when he released this detail. So fuck you. He started it before then, but he still put classified information in a signal chat he started before he became SecDef. That's worse, stupid.
For me, they're not interested in what these people were leaking, which seems serious.
Sorry, we're still talking about Pete Hegseth leaking information about our attack plans?
To the Secretary of Defense, who wasn't.
That's
what the fuck? No. He was Secretary of Defense when he posted in that group chat the same thing he posted in the other group chat.
They are lying about the Secretary of Defense. Let me reiterate, no classified information was shared.
Lie, bullshit. Then get him to go under oath. That's easy. Just solve it. Just get him to sit down under oath. You could nip all this in the bud. I mean, why are we even talking about this? Just, hey, you know what I mean? Right after the Easter egg roll, he could have just waltzed all over there. I'm sure somebody's sitting around that can put him under oath, and then he could just enter his testimony into the record. I mean, what more could we want?
These chats, but you do have leakers who are leaking classified information, which is a crime, I will add.
Whoa! What's classified? The fact that they think he's an asshole? So let me get this straight, dipshit. Our attack plans while our planes are in the air flying over anti-aircraft batteries that the Houthis have, that's not classified. That's not top secret. That's for public consumption. But people calling Hegseth a shitheel and a fuck-up and saying he's a chaos agent within the Pentagon, that's classified. That's for real. Is that holy shit?
The administration and the president have taken a very strong stance against anyone who leaks, especially sensitive and classified information that can put our troops and our warfighters at risk. And
So Hegseth is stepping down, is what you're saying?
The secretary has taken very strong action to rein in the leakers at the Pentagon.
What do you mean? Himself? He's the only leaker we know about. He's the only leaker. Everybody else talking shit about him isn't a leak. That's just people talking off the record to the press. They're not saying, oh, by the way, he was there Wednesday. I guess the New York the New York Times story, maybe that's what she's referring to, is that somebody leaked that he did this in another chat that he wasn't supposed to speak out in. Yeah, that's not a leak. That's whistleblower. That's what a whistleblower does. Stupid.
Will continue to do so, I'm sure.
Right. Absolutely.
By the way, they're going to love talking about this tomorrow and the day after and the day after. You can tell. Look at them both. They couldn't be happier to discuss this. They think it's a winning story. And they think it makes Trump and Hegseth look better with every passing day. It makes the press look stupid. stupid with their ass faces, and they're gonna they'll show us. Don't you worry. They're gonna start. We're gonna keep bringing it up, and we'll be made to look the fools. And they just love talking about this. Look at their fucking faces. This is not good. She has been put on by Trump. She and a couple other people, and Hegseth included, are in charge of killing this story in the crib, is the idea. And it's not working. It's not working. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Now, they're not alone in this chat room, by the way. Welcome. You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Super chats and bits. If you're on Twitch, please subscribe on Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. And then, of course, if you're on Substack, share this, Restack the show? Sure. And then I think you can share the live stream on Instagram in your stories. I don't know how anything works over there. It's weird. But this is this is how you know that Hegseth is in deep shit. They have called in the Russian media group crowd, the Tenet media folks, to run interference. What? What the skateboard? Democrats lose it over alleged second signal leak. DOD fires leakers. Okay, again, if it's alleged, then they're not leakers. They're not leakers. Or it's true. If it's not alleged, if they're leakers. If they leaked it, it's true. If they lied about it, then say so. Also, Democrats lose it. I think Democrats are finally getting it. I think they're finally grasping. They might have lost the reins of how to fucking start dealing with Trump in the modern era, and this is one of the ways they're getting him back. And again, the question isn't are Dems losing it over the alleged signal leak? The question is, why aren't you? Why doesn't this bother you? If you give a shit about the lives of our soldiers, if you have any sense of patriotism whatsoever, this asshole endangered their lives and you don't give a shit. I don't know why you think you get points for that. Is anybody? Anybody? Let's find out what Dimpool says.
I'd like to apologize in advance to all of you that the corporate press is running this narrative again because I'm pretty sure nobody cares.
Okay. You're apologizing that they're covering it because nobody cares about it, which is why you've got to do the story about it. Couldn't be that you got a memo saying, hey, can you make this a non-story because that's our angle. Nobody cares. Old news, nobody cares. That's the directive you've gotten. Because I got to say, that this does not seem like an organic take. I mean, maybe it's because I have the ability to reason and form complete sentences. If you're a complete fuckhead, maybe this is what happens. This is what occurs in your brain and leaps from your face. But I don't buy it.
The story is that Pete Hegseth has shared details of an attack again.
Details. Well, fancy. I'm not familiar with details. Is that a French word?
In a signal chat. And now I largely think this is a non-story.
You largely think it's a non-story? Well, then why cover it? If you largely think it's a non-story, maybe you largely think there's a seed of something fucked up here, and if you don't cover it, people will realize that you've been, I guess, hiding something, and so you'd rather be seen licking Trump's ass.
I don't think it's that there's literally nothing wrong with what they did. I just think...
Okay, so there literally is something wrong with what they did. Okay, good place to start.
It has little to no impact on anything going on that we should be caring about.
Well, yeah, you're not in the military. You're not in an airplane flying over Houthi anti-aircraft batteries. Why would you give a fuck? You're not related to anybody in any of those planes. You weren't down there as Trump skipped the return of the bodies from Lithuania, right? You don't care. Why should you?
I'll give you just the story for those of you mostly know about Signalgate because the corporate press would not shut up about it.
Well, make the case that they should.
They accidentally added a journalist into a chat they were using on Signal, where they were discussing some minor details relating to an attack on Yemen. I say,
oh, the minor details. Yes, the attack time, the weapons involved, when they would arrive, the entire strategy. Yeah, minor details.
Details because there were details. Excuse me.
Yeah. All right.
It wasn't like they were naming people or anything like that. It was...
Yeah, they didn't give the pilots names. And I, honest to God, I don't think the Houthis had a personal beef with any of the pilots. I think they would be happy to generically blow them out of the sky. Fuckhead. What in the world?
We're going to be doing this strike. We've got these vehicles. Here's why we're doing it.
These vehicles. Yes, that's what it is. We had a couple of Jeeps and guys in the backs with hand grenades. We have a couple of vehicles. Fucking vehicles. I'm just saying, if you're going to spend some of that sweet DOD money buying lies from dipshits online, I gotta think there's somebody better at it out there, right? Somebody's got to talk to Hegseth. Maybe that's what happened. Then they fired the dude who was, or he left on his own, who was the spokesperson. That was the guy who doled out the cash to the people who, really can push back on this stuff. And they're like, I don't know. I got 35 cents. Like, that's enough for Tim Pool.
And I thought it was kind of a weird message anyway, because they didn't use shorthand and they were saying very vanilla things about their views. So be it. It shouldn't have happened. Fine.
Oh, okay. The vanilla things about their views. Again, this is previous to when the crime happened. This is when they're discussing like tariffs. They're discussing, the upcoming attack. They're talking about Iran and some other things, and Europe, and whether or not, the Ukraine deal, just kind of generic back and forth stuff that they shouldn't be sharing, because any world government would want to know what the deliberations sound like inside the White House, so they shouldn't be sharing it there anyways. But it was Hegseth that added the attack plans to it. That's what made it fucked up. Even adding Goldberg wasn't a big deal until Hegseth fucked up.
But what's the worst case scenario in this Signalgate story?
The reporter in the first one calls to get a confirmation from somebody. Their phone is tapped. The Iranians have it tapped, and they give that information to the Houthis. They know within a couple of hours when our planes are going to be overhead and what path they'll be on, and they kill them. They kill the pilots, and they blow the planes out of the sky. The other one would be is that his wife, who works at Fox News, tips off somebody at Fox News so they can be ahead of the story to give them an intro to this, or any of the other number of 13 fucking people that were in this chat where he gave out the same information, none of whom of those people were in the actual administration. And one of those assholes calls somebody for confirmation or spreads it or mentions it to somebody else, and their phone is tapped, or their other chat isn't encrypted, and that information gets out that way, and our pilots die that way. There it is. And that's not even the worst of the worst. I mean, they could also maybe figure out how long the planes took to get there. They would know the positions of our ships exactly.
If somebody's driving a car and they spill a hot coffee and they hit an old lady and the old lady dies, you're getting in trouble, right? That person's going to get in trouble.
Yeah. What if, follow me on this. What if that old lady is in the witness relocation program, and you tell somebody that knows she's in the program, figures it out, and passes that on to somebody who wants her dead, and that's why she's in it in the first place. And as she's driving down the highway, they pull up next to her and they throw hot coffee in her face and make her wreck her car and die. That's a better analogy.
It was bad. It was an accident, but it's still bad. You're in trouble. If you're driving your car and you spill a hot coffee and you swerve and then pull over and nobody gets hurt, you probably won't even get a ticket.
What if you won't stop pouring coffee in your hot lap because you get sexually excited by it, and you keep driving through intersections, and it's only by the luck of the draw that these two intersections nobody died because it was the same intersection from two angles, the two cameras. But in the next intersection, nobody stops you and you kill someone. You're still allowed to drive. You don't pull over. By the way, pulling over would mean he leaves. he steps down.
Cop sees it, he might say, hey, what happened? He's asked about my coffee. Say, well, don't do it again.
Yeah, that's what cops say. Don't spill your coffee again.
Penalty. And that's the point.
No, it's not. This is a fucking stupid analogy, top to tails. This is just dumb. God damn.
Gate had no deep ramifications.
Look, it didn't, luckily the reporter that he accidentally added to it had morals, even though Trump said he was a scumbag and the lowest of the low. By, the rest of the world standards, he was an honorable man and didn't share that information with anybody that could have, that maybe had an Iranian phone tap. And therefore, he didn't call and check with anybody. He was aware that those details were should be classified, even if fucking Hegseth wasn't. And we lucked out. Why would you want somebody who is this fucking stupid in a situation where they could fuck up again?
Ran this story ad nauseum, and now they're trying to reignite the stupid story again, which is largely meaningless.
Well, if you don't care if soldiers die, sure.
Now, there's a minor detail in it. Here's how I say it.
This is how you say it. That's a little Freudian slip right there. It's not how you see it, it's how you say it. It's what you're being paid to say. Gotcha, okay.
If I was going to be talking about DOD operations or whatever, we would never run a story about this like, oh my God, I can't believe Pete Hegseth did this. We'd passively mention it like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do it, but...
Yeah, you'll kiss his ass and lick Trump's. I get it. Yeah, of course. Because they pay you in blow, I guess? Is that what we're supposed to... If you know what I'm saying?
They've got nothing on this guy. And if the best thing can muster up is that he texted some people and he maybe shouldn't have, but nothing bad happened, then
then why do we have? Again, do we only charge people if they spread classified information if somebody dies in the process, or that you can tell that somebody dies in the process? Is that the standard now?
We got a pretty good SecDef. Here's a story.
No, you don't.
New York Times. They say Hegseth said to have shared attack details in second signal chat. Oh, heavens me.
Just dismissive of it, just straight out of the gate. Oh, heavens me, a second signal chat. One that does not involve administration officials.
That Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared detailed information about forthcoming strikes in Yemen on March 15th in a private signal group chat that included his wife, brother, and personal lawyer, according to 4 people with knowledge of the chat.
Also, are you just itching for blow right now? What is happening? What is this? What's that about? Is it just dry in the studio and your nostril hurts?
Wonder if the 4 people with knowledge of the chat include any of the individuals who were recently fired. Top.
No.
Officials under Hegseth.
Those guys are in the first chat, stupid.
Fired amid leak probe. Indeed. They say...
yeah, if it's no big deal, why are they being fired? If it's not a big deal.
2.
And why'd you jump ship from the other story so quick about the second signal chat? Why go back to the first signal chat story and the investigation that came from it that has resulted in 4 people being fired and 1 guy quitting?
They say DOD officials under Secretary Hegseth, who were previously placed on administrative leave, have been fired. The DOD has faced heavy scrutiny recently after Hegseth and other top Trump cabinet officials engaged in a signal group chat, which included a journalist discussing imminent war plans. I would say attack plans because there's no war, but you're picking hairs. Signal is an encrypted app.
Could soldiers die because their plans get out before they're actually arriving at the battle zone? Yeah, then who gives a fuck? Shut up.
Know this? Hegseth has repeatedly rebuked the initial report from Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about it. They were discussing their views on a military strike.
Nope. Nobody cares about their views, asshole. Again, run-of-the-mill political scandal. It was Hegseth that fucked up. Hegseth put the actual attack plans in there before they were implemented, as they were given a go.
We're using war in this regard in a semantic argument. That is, do they mean war as in we're in an active war and these are the plans to carry out during that war? Or was it attack plans on a target? In which case, some people would say that's war.
Or are you turd polishing like an asshole right now? Are you just doing everything you can to cover for this dickhead. I'm sorry, you were saying something about Hunter Biden's laptop and, I don't know, China money.
And then they try and say, no, not war because we didn't declare it. Well, we get, like, it's silly. Attack plans, war plans, a pointless distinction, in my opinion. Like, in some contexts, it maybe does make sense. If we've got plans to declare war and that gets leaked out, that's very, very bad.
Do you think Trump thinks we're at war with the Houthis? Undeclared war? Of course. Does he think it belongs under the purview of the war on terror? Are we carrying out the war on terror when we're fighting against the Houthis, which are not a Yemeni army? They've taken over the southern part of the country, so they are defined as a terrorist group, especially Trump just reassigned them their terrorist group moniker, right?
An active conflict already.
Okay, who's fucking splitting hairs at this point? I guess this is what Tim Pool tossing Hegseth'S salad sounds like.
Should be declared as a war, but isn't. Then we get it. The bigger issue here is that who cares? That's the bigger issue, I guess. But
who cares if our soldiers get shot out of the sky because this motherfucker can't stop bragging like a boastful prick on unsecure apps?
Hey, don't get mad at me. It's like the biggest story in the country, apparently. I mean, the Pope passed away, rest in peace. This is like the second or third biggest story. Mr. Hegseth's wife, Jennifer, a former Fox News producer, is not a Defense Department employee, but has traveled with him overseas. They say that his brother Phil and Tim Parlatore, who continue to serve as his personal lawyer, both have jobs in the Pentagon. But it's not clear why either would need to know about upcoming military strikes aimed at Houthis in Yemen. Because the story may be fake. That's
what it is. Yeah. Because the story may be fake. Okay, then why are you covering it? Why don't you just hang out and see if it works out? Because you know it isn't. And because you got a fucking phone call.
They're trying to drum up a reason to get rid of Pete Hegseth, and this story may be bunk nonsense.
Why isn't the first one bad enough to punt this motherfucker? I guarantee the second story isn't fake. And there are worse ones to come. Because the dude's a fuck up. But hey, throw your fucking lot in with Hegseth.
Here we have 4 anonymous individuals.
Nope.
Why should I believe the New York Times on anything? Okay.
Because they've been right so far?
If the New York Times comes out and says, here's a video of thing happening, I say, okay. If they come out and they say, here's a quote from a guy, I say, okay. Now, that video may be out of context, and that quote may be out of context too. But when they come out and they say, some anonymous people have made a claim, I go, oh yeah? Okay, well, I'll tell you this. Some anonymous people have claimed to me that Nancy Pelosi was engaged in illegal felony insider trading.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. You're just, there's a difference between them saying there are people who are anonymous because they are a source, and we are protecting them because of that. There is no one who came and told you that, this is on the QT, Nancy Pelosi made a shit ton of money. He's making it up. So the point is, yours is a fantasy story. The New York Times is an actual news organization, and you are comparing those two things.
And is it drunk? Is it drunk? Anonymous sources. I wonder who they may be. I don't know. It was some guy on X. His name was, Jim Bob 5936123.
Well, then that's not anonymous. You got it from an X account.
He's an anonymous source.
No, he isn't. He's got a social media handle you're getting information from. That's not how anonymous sources work.
Like, am I supposed to consider that?
No, you're supposed to go, I got this from this dude, Joe Bob 1564 or whatever, and people can take it or leave it based on the idea that you heard it from some dickhead with no information on Twitter, versus a trusted source like the New York Times and the anonymous sources that they have had in the past and how those have checked out. And you can have a difference of opinion about it, but they are nowhere close to the same thing as you just reading something from an account you don't know on X.
This is why I don't trust anonymous sources.
No, you are being paid not to trust anonymous sources, is my opinion.
Because I kid you not, I could say something like, Nancy Pelosi is a drug-abusing deviant who kicked a dog, according to a source close to her office. And the close to her office is the homeless guy who sits behind it. Hey, I said he was close to her office, and he's an anonymous source. But you try to trick people into thinking that this person has some kind of insider knowledge. They said, according to 4 people with knowledge of the chat. What does that mean?
It means there are 13 people in the chat, and then there are other people around him that know he has it.
Knowledge of the chat could be they...
Right. Hey, asshole, we played this game before with the last story. And what happened? They showed it. The Atlantic, Goldberg went, okay, they said it's not classified. Here's what they fucking said. And it was verified by the DOD.
Briefly, or Pete Hegseth went, yeah, I'm in a group chat with my wife. And they go, oh, I bet he's talking about war plans.
Yeah, no. That wouldn't be enough.
Report that to the New York Times. Who
also keep selling that.
Cares, okay?
I don't know why you're covering it then. Just wait. I'm sure it'll all work out.
The bigger questions we have going on in this country are the state of illegal immigration, the state of mass deportation.
What mass deportations? What mass deportations? The Trump administration is on track to deport fewer people than Biden did in his last year. What mass deportations? Maybe that's the state you're talking about.
Questions are, why are we engaging in strikes against a country we're not at war with? Or how about this one? Why are they using Signal at all? These are public records that should not be disappeared.
Yeah, that's all been part of that conversation. Yeah.
Now, I got to say, if you think that they're retaining all their records, I don't care if it's Trump, Hillary, or Biden, or whoever else, I got a bridge to sell you.
So your excuse for Hegseth is that everybody's a crook, so who gives a shit if he is? You don't have any standards whatsoever. Fuck the soldiers in the sky. If they get shot down, I mean, yeah, you buy the ticket, you take the ride. That's how it goes. That's the standard. Fuck our soldiers, saith Tim Pool.
They're going to mention that the chat revealed by Atlantic. Oh, blah, blah, blah. The Signal Gate. Man, I got to be honest, guys. I do not want to do this story, okay? Because I doubt anybody even actually cares about it.
Huh. But you're being paid to, you're being told to, you got a phone call about it. And the whole idea is they said, hey, the important thing is, the most important part of the story is pretend it's not shit. It doesn't matter. That's all you got to say. It's just boring. It's not real. It's no big deal. And that's the storyline. That's the propaganda you're in charge of pushing. It doesn't matter. If we lose a couple of soldiers in the air, or we get, some of our troop positions given away eventually by this asshole, it won't matter. It'll never blow back on you. It'll be his fault. But in the interim, all you got to say is there's no there, and then just forget about it. Move on to the next big shiny thing.
Apparently, it is a top trending story, and they're trying to fire. They want to get him fired.
Who's they? Oh, you mean Susie Wiles?
Rumors are popping up in the corporate press that.
In the corporate press. Rumors are popping up in the corporate press. Those rumors would not be within the corporate press. They would be of what's going on in the Pentagon or the White House, allegedly.
Seth is in trouble, that the DOD is in chaos, and Trump wants to fire him. And
I don't know about the wants to firing. Might need to is part of the story. And the chaos stuff comes from his spokesperson who stepped down, who is not anonymous at all, wrote an op-ed in Politico.
Really doubt it. Trump fought really hard for this guy.
Right, and he still only squeaked over the line, 51-49. He's a fuck up.
There were easier picks, but this is the guy that Trump wanted.
What easier picks? Like who? Like who? Name one. Did Trump have a long list? Or did he just settle on he owed people at Fox News and Hegseth looked the part?
Of course, they're going to try and run these stories to force Trump's hand. I don't.
Why would it?
See it ever getting anywhere.
Well, that's because you don't give a shit, right?
What they do, my friends. Hope you're paying attention to this one. They want to create public pressure to damage squishy Republicans. So what they want with the Abrego Garcia story, the mass deportation story in this, is so that when a Republican goes to his constituents and says, we are doing good, we are literally we're doing good and we're doing it well, right? See,
yeah, but that's not true, but okay.
Purpose. The constituents go, yeah, but Hegseth, it's a signal chat. They want people to be angry for nonsensical reasons, which is.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you can help that. If people are stupid, is what you're saying, is that their constituents are full of squishy Republicans who are stupid and will care about nonsensical things that you have determined are nonsensical, but somehow they seem to think are important. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, Tim, let me present this as a concept, that they have children in the military. Perhaps they have husbands, wives, relatives in the military, and they would rather not have a SecDef that leaks their fucking attack plans while they're over hostile territory.
The annoying thing about the Democrats
is all this giving a shit that we do.
When I see Democrats running these narratives where they're saying things like, Trump is doing, he deported a Maryland father, and you're as annoyed as I am. Because I see my friends post this stuff, and I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah, it is. His kids are American citizens. His wife's an American citizen. He lives in Maryland.
It's not true. The scary thing is they think what we're saying is not true, but we're actually posting the court documents. And they're lying. So what I can say about Signalgate, it's bad. It shouldn't have happened. Are we going to cry about it? No. It's like I said, no one actually got hurt.
Right. They could have, and they could in the future because Pete Hegseth apparently has learned fucking nothing.
This is an issue of, wow, Pete, I guess don't do it again. Anyway, moving on. Instead, these people have talked about it for a month. Now, what I will say is Democrats, I think, are getting desperate to get off the Kilmar story.
No. Van Allen just went down there. 4 Democratic House members just went down there on their own dime. I think that's just building up as well.
Senator Van Hollen has come out and said, no, this trip isn't about defending our Abrego Garcia. Uh-oh, the polls are coming in. They're starting to figure out that the American people don't want to hear that Democrats are defending criminals.
They're not. They're defending the rule of law, stupid.
And they are.
No, they're not. And also prove he's a criminal in a court of law. Besides the fact that he came into the country illegally, which is an equal crime to murder and theft and the like. Yeah, that's the.
I want to hear how people are going to get how Congress will get prices down, how they'll get houses for Gen Z. I mean, Gen Z's thinking that.
Right, and Trump's not interested at all.
Wondering how you're going to fix our economy and secure our nation. Not.
Right. I'm sorry, I thought Trump was going to do that in like an hour.
Whether or not you saved a violent wife-beating gang member, and they know it.
I don't even think the goal is to save him. The goal is that he goes through proper legal channels so that we still exist as a country.
They've got to get off this story.
No, they don't. No, they really don't.
Here we go. Pete Hegseth, Signalgate. Really? Is this the best you've got?
No. This is his fuck up, not anybody else's. This is an unforced error.
Holy crap, man. If this is the best you've got, I think Trump's got smooth sailing from here.
Well, all right. I think that settles it then. You heard it right from Tim Drool himself, ladies and gentlemen. It's all you need to know. It's all you need to know. It's like that's a non-story. Nobody cares, honestly. And so, what are you gonna do? It's such a meaningless story that he's got to cover it and remind you that it's a meaningless story. So there you go. That said, let's see. I don't like. I know I'm going to get aggravated, aren't I, with this next story? I know it. Hit the like, by the way. Share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Let's see. Yeah, Drool Pool. Yeah, it's only 90 days. That's true. Does Tim watch mother-in-law porn? Yeah, clearly. Let's dance. 100% approval rating by June. No doubt. Who the fuck was that? That's Tim Drool. That's one of the former Tenet Media, Russian hacks that was being paid. And he had no idea that they were paying him to make anti-Ukraine, pro-Russian propaganda by paying him to make videos that never had to have any ratings at all, that didn't have to have a call to action, that didn't have a promo in them. Just $100,000 a video just to make them. And they don't have to you don't have to hit a certain number of views to get that money. It just has to have it. We're just doing it because we feel like it. What do you do with that $100,000? if you continue to make videos that we like on your other channel, would be great, right? That's what he was doing. Yeah, the paid Russian hacks from now. Speaking of hacks, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Dore is now convinced that China is winning at everything. Adorable.
Come see us do stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Manchester, Glasgow. For a link for tickets. There it is. 2 companies just got commercial license to fly passenger drones in China. There it is. There's one of them. There it is. They got them.
And
wow. Hey, you know what else?
Okay, but there's an even cooler thing. Let me try.
An evening cooler thing? Maybe the fans from the blades are cool.
Find it.
They cool you off.
Wow, and they're way ahead of us in great techno music.
Look, there it is. There it is.
Oh wait, hold on. Does wait a minute? Does Jimmy not know that we have VTOL aircraft in the United States already?
Oh, that is cool. That song was playing and I'd crash it right into my house, though.
Look at that. Chinese flying cars.
Oh, it's 1 million RMB.
I want one of those.
Look. I bet a million RMB
Look.
is significantly lower in dollars.
Hold on. And the article, this video is called "China Has Flying Cars, So Why Don't We?" I don't know. Why don't you have a fucking Google search, asshole? How about where are we? Commercial. It's the XTI. Let's do the let's see what these. I'll just do the YouTube ones. Hold on. This will be the easiest way. If you think he's bothered, like here's a year ago. Here's the Air 1 electric VTOL.
Air 1, a fully...
There you go.
The Air 1 offers safe, simple, and quiet transportation for personal day-to-day commute.
There you go. There's that one. How about, let's see. Well, let's just look at... I've shown you this before.
Welcome to a selection of
I'm going to do this. So these are all the VTOLs you can buy in the United States right fucking now. Jimmy? You know, the drones that everybody was talking about around New Jersey and all that kind of shit? A big bunch of them. This one's not out. That's a prototype. It's not coming out for a long time. Zapata has one. That's the little jet racer. These are all basically quadcopters or octocopters. There's this guy's, like, the kind of cheap ones. Here's the one that Jimmy's actually looking at that's an American company as well. There's another one, the ultralight, a USA one that's amphibious. You can land that in the water if you want to. It has a really weird way of landing. It lands on its butt and then it rolls over, but you can put it in a truck and drive it around. Here's the big octocopter. These are the, like, this is the Chinese ones that he's talking about, Haytech and but there's a South Korean one as well. Yeah, there we go. This is Eastern European. Yeah, that's a lightweight one. That one's nice. Battery operated. There's the batteries. Flies for 20 minutes, goes 40 miles an hour, carries 286 pounds. There's the other ones. Here's the dude with his little octocopter that he rides like a surfboard, which is really cool. There's like a multi-top. Look at that. Look, I'm fairly certain I recognize. Everybody's like talking about, like, this is the prototype. When it's actually going to happen. There's a guy with the jetpack flying around. That is somebody. Oh, this is the guy who made his own remote one, and he's working on this other design one. There's the bike style. Watch this guy. Yeah, once they take off, it's pretty cool. This guy. Yeah, there you go. And here's one of these little, like, quadcopters. Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, really fucking exciting, dude. The video I just showed you is from 2 goddamn years ago.
They have them.
Mm-hmm.
How come we don't have those?
We do. We have a lot of them. We have more of them.
Because we're communist?
Oh,
I don't know,
here's
Jimmy.
the one. Here's the one I saw yesterday. Watch this.
This one was for sale at CES this year.
We don't need the music. I got it.
It's also
It comes right out the
CGI.
back.
It's also
Okay,
CGI.
what is it?
And there it is.
Oh, my flying car? Like if I'm late?
So it looks like a Cybertruck, but then it turns into a flying car.
No, it doesn't turn into a flying car. It has a little quadcopter in it, and it's a prototype, and it doesn't work.
$250,000.
Isn't that
CGI.
wild?
Yeah.
It's great. It's terrific. It's some of the best work you'll see on Blender.
It goes in the back of the car. The car has the wheels, and then when it comes out, why wouldn't you just put
Oh, the car has the wheels, sure.
on the flying car part? But anyway, so there it is. It drives around, and then it opens the back. Oh, look, you could even. Here it is.
This
It
is the
opens
demo
up the
version,
back.
by the way.
No way.
Yeah.
And then there it is.
What?
Yeah, all you got to do is cut around it. You don't actually have to see it coming away. You just notice the number of cuts. Never mind.
Yep.
I saw this thing at CES. They had this demo at CES. It's a prototype or like a concept vehicle.
Don't you want one of those, Misha?
No
Well,
drunk driving laws in the air.
That's right. Yeah, cops ain't got those. How would the cops? What would
They have helicopters, stupid.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're kidding, right? It's easier to bring you down in that than it is a car. Especially over water, I guess.
Wow.
Also, you've got about 20 minutes of flight time. So I guess they just wait in a helicopter that can fly for 2 hours.
It's here. The future is. I've been promised this since I was 6 years old, and finally,
These are helicopters. They just use smaller propellers instead of the main one. Fuck me.
here and the Chinese did it.
And I'm amazed that the barrier to making one was, it turns out it's just like tiny helicopter rotors. That's
it. That was the barrier. They decided
What?
to. Yeah. That's it. Look, Joe.
No, that's not it. That's a different one.
It looks like a little mini helicopter. Sure. You can
No, it looks like a drone. It's a drone you can sit in.
call it that if you want to.
It's like a giant sized drone, it looks like.
But I bet you don't have to go to school to learn how to drive it.
Oh.
No, well, quilting school, you know.
Oh, look, there's a bunch of them.
Oh my God. Really? This is what the show's like? Fuck me. That's how in the fuck? God damn. This is like giving your grandparents their first smartphone. Holy shit. All these VTOLs are, which is vertical takeoff and landing. All the VTOLs are ultralights, so you don't need a regular pilot's license to operate them. In some cases, depending on where you land them legally or where you want to touch them down or where you want to fly them, you have to have clearance in that, so you get a sport license to fly in certain areas. Right now, it's pretty open. So you're allowed to fly these things around. But I like, for real, like this is just fucking lame. Top 12 personal VTOL aircraft, best ultralight flying vehicles, from Topbox. This is, hold on, 2 years ago. This is old, and these are still cooler.
Yeah, it looks totally safe.
I believe that's what you call sarcasm, which is what idiots have instead of a sense of humor.
We can't even get helicopters to stop running into airplanes. Imagine if every asshole's got one of these.
Also, we had that happen once. Can't get them to stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I want to see the numbers. You know.
So what is he? Sorry. Chinese electric flying cars. Okay, so he did a search on X for Chinese electric flying cars. So maybe, I don't know, maybe just flying cars without the Chinese part. Let's see, 9 months ago, the Leo. This is 3 months ago. Here you go. How about this guy? The Leo Coupe. What do you think? We looked at this one before. This is one of the demo models, like what it's going to be like. They use these little mini flyer things. This is also a concept vehicle, by the way. But they would have parking areas. This is the Leo Coupe. It's a real design, though. It's very spacey, very expensive. Obviously aimed at the bazillionaire. Lightness is the new luxury. And this is how they made it. This is the design. This is the guy who designed it. He's like, if I had just a bunch of little ones, it makes it easier to deal with, because part of the nauseating aspect of VTOL is the up and the turning of it. But if I had, instead of having 4 big propellers, I had dozens of these little ones, and that's what this one's designed on. So they're actually building the actual fucking thing. It's just going to be pretty at some point. Is the point. All right, now that's 3 months ago. That's a concept that's coming out. Let's see. Here's 4 months ago. These are just as real as what Jimmy was looking at, and in some cases more real. There's this thing, and then these are the little flying ones, and this is the one that the fold up, and it goes out into 4 helicopter or wings like that. They're rather large. This is the flying car that actually takes off from the ground. This is a VTOL light aircraft where the fans drop like that. It blows it up in the air, and then it takes off once it's up. These are all silly. That's very silly. That's also very silly. They're very pretty. This is a rotary blade concept that they were working on, where you have these forward rollers, which I guess are either better or worse for bird strike. Hard to say. This is a little roll-up one that goes on auto gas. It drives as a car, and then it takes off. And then these are these little 3-wingy things. And there's a bunch of these. That one was on Top Gear. This is the one I just showed you. This is 3 months. Oh, this guy actually flew the other day. This thing right here. They demoed this. It literally is a takeoff from the ground. Looks like something out of an old Bond movie from the 60s. But again, this is because Jimmy is fucking dumb. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's old. Is that the idea?
That is the thing to think about. Like, think about the assholes having those here, and then a nation of all Chinese drivers.
Oh, well, good. You know what, Kurt? I was about to give up on this video, thinking it couldn't get worse, like more dull and bigoted and stupid to take. And then here you come in, flying in with the old Chinese people can't drive. It's always, you can always count on Jimmy's show for cutting edge comedy and racism. Fucking hell. How goddamn lazy do you have to be? All right, where am I doing? Okay, I'm all right on time. Shit. This is now. I want to show you something that this is. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Yeah. Oh, I see. It scrolled past this. Beg your pardon. Also, hit the like, share the show if you would. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. I'm Hal Sparks. There is a. Where is it? Ugh. I'm going to try to find this whole thing. Yeah, here we go. So while we've been hearing that over the last little bit, we've been hearing all kinds of stuff about Hegseth. We've been understanding that there's a ton of other stories going on. The tariffs have been fucking up the economy, all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Doge has been limping along, wasting everyone's time and money, and not being efficient at all, and basically shitting the bed. And I can't imagine why. Oh, it could be that they put her in charge of the House.
As the chair of the Doge committee, we've had a lot of great hearings.
Hearings. Nothing says you've gotten past the swampy politics of DC like hearings. All right.
hearing was on Medicare. Guess what? No one is taking away anyone's Medicare. That's a lie that is being told by the Democrats and unfortunately the media.
Why is it choppy like that? Is this how this whole thing is? Maybe Doge did her microphone. Fuck this. All right, now I'll try and find a better version of that in the near future. Nobody needs to see more of her than we absolutely have to. But meanwhile, Rachel Campos Duffy did an interview with Trump. Hold on, let me drag this in here. And hold on. This is 2 days ago. Here you go. I feel like we did part of this before, but we didn't make our way through it. But I think they finally released the whole thing.
Los venezolanos les robaron las elecciones. Maduro no es el líder legítimo. La oposición ganó por mucho. ¿Cuál es el plan para manejar esta situación?
Well, we just did secondary sanctions, as you know. You saw that, tariffs in a way.
Yes.
But secondary sanctions
Tariffs in a way. So tariffs are sanctions, sanctions are tariffs.
on the oil. And basically anybody taking oil from Venezuela is not allowed to, in any way, shape, or form, come in
What about prisoner transfers?
the United States and deal with the United States in trade. And I never saw boats go so quickly out of a harbor. So we'll see. And we're looking at Venezuela very, very carefully.
Okay.
And that election was rigged. There's no question about it.
No question. Pues hablando de integridad electoral, muchos latinoamericanos están preocupados de que los Estados Unidos haya...
I love how Trump's just fluent in Spanish. You know what I mean? You get the feeling that he answers right away when she's done. He's so smart. I didn't even know he spoke Spanish. Well, heard Spanish, listened to Spanish, listened to women. I don't know.
Interferido en sus elecciones en Latinoamérica a través de USAID. Afortunadamente, tú bien sabes que usted cerró esa operación. Se compromete a exponer públicamente la interferencia electoral por parte de nuestro gobierno a través de los NGOs financiado por nuestro gobierno.
Well, I love this question, and I'm proud that you have the courage to ask it. And the answer is yes, we are going to do a lot having to do with elections. You need strong borders and you need good elections or you don't have a country. Those two things. And then you need other things like a free press. But you need those two things to start off with.
Right.
And we're going to do that. And USAID was a disaster. The money was given away by the tens of billions, by the hundreds of billions of dollars.
No.
And it was given away by a corrupt U.S. government and people that work for the U.S. government. And, yeah, we're looking at that very strongly. We had some very, very...
Oh, thank God. Right up there with Marjorie Taylor Greene's committee meetings, he's looking at things very strongly. I want you to know that, like, when he sees stuff, he goes, like, he's looking at it as hard as he can. Oh, look too hard, I think, on that one.
Powerful thing. Elon, his people were the ones that found this out, and they've done a great service to our country.
Yeah, I know that many Latin Americans, it's like they know what happened, and they know it. They want you to expose it.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Now, the one good thing is that
yes, there are a lot of Latin Americans who made it to the United States during the first Trump turn and afterwards post-COVID who want to make sure that other Latin Americans don't make it into the United States. They want to pull that ladder up after themselves. It's from the fine tradition of people who pull the ladder up after themselves. Rich Cuban immigrants who pay their way to the front of the line and don't want the boat people to make it to shore because they don't want to have to compete with them, even though they're doctors and lawyers and people like that. If they couldn't politically weasel their way to the country, then they don't deserve to be here. They deserve to drown in shark-infested waters. And there's still another group of people that are just the kind of Latin Americans that Trump likes in particular, the kinds with money and who can buy a gold card.
I call it the third term, right? I just don't want the results of the second term.
Yeah.
But we won it 3 times, but I don't want the results because it was terrible. What they've done to the border, when you think of it, what they've done to this country with the wars, Russia, Ukraine would have never happened. October 7th in Israel would have never happened. Therefore, you wouldn't have hostages to worry about. You wouldn't have had anything.
He just doesn't like doing the work. That's what this is about. Like, he's like, fuck, I have to do things. I was just going to golf and make myself rich.
Because Iran was broke. They had no...
No, they weren't.
They couldn't give it to Hamas or Hezbollah.
None of these things that Hamas did cost any money at all. The whole October 7th probably cost $120,000 all in.
But that would have never happened. The Russia-Ukraine would have never happened. The worst embarrassment in the history of our country, I believe, the Afghanistan withdrawal, the way we withdrew. I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
Yeah, that's so weird. No, staying in was the embarrassing part.
Wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have inflation. And I could name about 25 other things, but you don't have the time, especially in two languages.
Yes.
But
right, because someone is reading you the questions in English after she finishes.
It's so horrible what took place, and
horrible.
Some people don't want to mention it, but you know the other thing, the Democrats keep talking the same way they did. They still want to have men and women's sports. I was watching a news program today, and there was a congressman. I won't reveal his name because he was a nice guy, but he's so foolish, and he was fighting the announcer, asking the question, demanding that men be allowed to participate in women's sports. I said, this guy, is he serious? It's just hard to believe. And that's.
Oh, yeah. I by the way, I think he's talking about in one of the congressional committees where they were referring to a trans woman using male pronouns out of respect. And the trans Congress member. That's what that was about. That that was the complaint. It wasn't even about sports.
One of many things. I mean, transgender.
Because he doesn't know. It's the library.
For everybody.
Okay, and again, he thinks transgender for everybody is transhumanism, which is what Elon Musk wants, which is what the technocrats want, and Peter Thiel wants. He doesn't understand that transhuman has nothing to do with transgender or transsexual.
Open borders. How about open borders? Open borders. Let the entire world pour into our country from prison.
Yeah, that's not the plan at all.
Everything else, but let the entire world, and it's not South America, it's the whole world, from the Congo, is one of the biggest prisoners from the Congo jails pouring into our country.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was something about Congo. I remember, let's see, Congo, Wiener, daughter, Trump Tower, something along those lines. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Hold on. Yeah. U.S. prosecutors push to seize apartment tied to Congolese president and luxury Trump complex. Is that what you mean when you mean like criminals from the Congo coming into the country, buying apartments in Trump International? Terrible.
Who would allow this to happen? It's such a violation, so sad to see what happened. But I will say that by doing it.
Oh, I apologize. I should have done this earlier. He seems to be lit better so you don't see the bottom of his neck, but prepare yourself.
This way, it's a much more important presidency than it would have been if it was more standard. Mm-hmm. It's really become a historic presidency. And unless.
Make this go away. It should do it again. 3, 2, 1, and puff. There we go.
Answer a question very badly for you. We're going to keep it that way, Rachel.
Right. That's right. You feel like you're wiser for having gone through the 4
Yeah, I do.
years?
I think I'm wiser. Nobody had any idea that something could be so corrupt. You know, nobody talked. In the old days, we didn't talk about like a corrupt election. Have an election, you assumed it was right. Turned out to be a total, like a scam. It's a scam. But when you.
Well, and that's the only word you can draw from your empty fucking skull. Yeah, say scam.
Think about it. How else can they win? Open borders, transgender for everyone.
Also, what the fuck does transgender for everyone mean? It means transhumanism, I know. Just like asylum seekers come from asylums.
The thing with women's sports, men playing in women's sports. I mean, you ever see the records of weightlifters? The difference between a man and just in lifting weights. But it's also dangerous. They have men boxing women. You saw what happened in the Olympics. 2 guys were in, 2 guys won, and they decimated their opponents.
Right.
It's so crazy.
No.
You know, great women athletes who really, to me, it's demeaning. It's just demeaning to women.
Yeah.
But they're on those kicks. I actually tell Republican politicians.
They're on those kicks. You know, the kids today.
Don't complain. Wait till before the election because maybe they'll change it.
Esto fue lo que yo le pregunté a usted este verano pasado sobre devolver la transparencia al gobierno. If you were president, would you declassify? You can answer yes or no to these.
Oh, shit. They're going to play the whole answer? I don't think so.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Oh. All right. So they're going to play the edited version of that, or is she going to ask him if they're going to actually do it?
Sé que Judicial Watch está demandando para obtener acceso a los archivos relacionados con, por ejemplo, Jeffrey Epstein. ¿Nos puedes dar un update?
Yeah, I would say just release it. He was somebody that was, I guess you'd have to say, notorious.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say release it. And I did release the full Kennedy files. You know, people said, well, maybe not everything.
Yeah, we're not, nobody gave a shit. Yep. Not a problem. Let's see. Is this the, where is it? They edit the Trump thing. Where we go? Did they?
One of the things was having.
Would you declassify? You can answer yes or no to these. Would you declassify the?
That Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, I would.
Guy?
Yeah, okay, so that was their edited version. Hold on, I'll see if I can find the, hold on, Dink, get out of here. Yeah, this is
Originally aired.
There you go, this one. Whoops. Get out of here. Okay. This would be this part.
Files.
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Yeah, totally, that whole world.
But I think I would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died. It would be interesting to find out what happened there because that was a weird situation and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah.
You mean when you were president?
Long way toward that one. The other stuff I would.
So that.
Right. So they edited that out. She just did the same one, and he's basically doing the same Doge. Doge right here.
Yeah, I would say just release it. He was somebody that was, I guess you'd have to say, notorious.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say.
No, how about a scumbag? How about a pedophile?
Release it, and I did release the full Kennedy files. You know, people said, well, maybe not everything. And I said, if anybody has a problem, go to the office. We gave them an office address, and they can look at every single piece of paper we have and other files. And as you know, the January 6th and all of that, we freed the people. They were treated so badly.
Yeah, but what about the Epstein update?
There's never been, I mean, there have been some pretty bad instances, but there's probably never been anything like what happened with the people from January 6th who were.
Yes.
I don't know. The victims of Jeffrey Epstein, I think, probably had it worse.
Largely, and there's always exceptions, but largely great patriots for this country. And so many people were happy with that. You know, I did that.
And they were like, they almost forgot about the Epstein thing, and then you had to bring it up again.
Let them out. I gave them their freedom. They were treated worse than murderers. They were treated, I mean, people murder. They don't even go after them.
Yeah.
They know.
No one refuses to go after a murderer, you silly asshole.
They know where they are, where to pick them up. They don't even pick them up. They went.
Who? Who's not picking up the murderer? They know where they are and they're not picking them up. Who? Name one.
These people so violently. And so I took care of that. I took care of a lot of situations.
Yeah, but you didn't take care of the Epstein records. So I was wondering, like, why would the, is that not gonna...
Remember your last show, that show?
Yeah.
With the two very good people alongside of you?
Yeah, that was
and I think
fun.
I took care of every one of those things.
Yeah.
But I would do that, yeah.
You didn't.
What about J6? I'm sorry, what about the pipe bomber?
Yeah.
Ellos son terroristas. Esa persona que puso eso es un terrorista. Entonces,
Yes, and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
¿Cuándo vamos a saber quién era esas personas?
Yeah. Is this somebody you know personally?
It's amazing when they don't give you the information. When they don't, you know they're not on the right. The pipe bomber is not a person on the right. It's a person on the left, okay? And you know, when I watch...
Why? You're in charge right now. You have the House and the Senate. So if you're not giving it out, why? If you had an idea that it was somebody on the left, fucking say it.
Some of those people in the Capitol, our people don't carry ropes on their side and, you know, this and that. Our people aren't.
What? Ropes on their side? What do you mean? Lassos?
Scaling.
Are you going to get to the bottom of it? People
well, we're going to try. Yeah, we're going to try.
Yeah, we'll try. I mean, you can't really, you would expect that it won't be, you know, won't be able to get really to it as much as other people, you know. It's like, we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, just don't ask me about the Epstein thing again.
And there's, hey, look, the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, these horrible people, Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd have released the Epstein files.
And two of the worst Republicans in history, crying Adam and Liz Cheney, two of the worst. They are just sick people. This was the committee. And it went for a year and a half. At the end of a year and a half, what did they do? They destroyed every piece of evidence they had.
No, they didn't. It's all online.
Because it came out totally on our side. Nancy Pelosi was responsible for the security. She knew that. She proclaimed it on her daughter's tape. I mean, her daughter's a videographer or whatever.
Why would she have needed security against your own people? I guess is the question. Why would she even needed to worry about your followers attacking the Capitol? Even if she was in charge of Capitol security, which she was not. Even if she was in charge of it, why would she need to make sure that there were... And by the way, were there any Antifa in the Jan 6ers that were arrested for beating cops and tasing them and stealing weapons and bringing guns and knives into the Capitol building?
The hell she does. And she had Nancy complain, you know, saying that she was responsible for it.
Yeah.
They burned everything, and then Biden gave them all apart. And these are Congress people. These are people that are in Congress, not respected members of Congress, but they're in Congress.
Yeah.
If you did that in a civil thing,
I know.
But think of it, they burned, deleted, and destroyed every single document.
No, they didn't. Like, it's just stupid. Please, God, let me run into this Duffy woman at some point, somewhere where I can go, you do realize that's a lie, right? That's just, you don't give a shit about anything else I say. Never mind the fact that I don't know anybody it would take 25 years to figure out Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and would be friends with him the whole time while it's happening and never live more than a 9-minute cab ride from his fucking house. Everywhere you bought a place somehow you're a neighbor of his. Never mind that fact. But you do realize that all that shit's still online. You can Google it. It's still there. All the evidence is still online. It is archived. It's still in the congressional record. You still have access to it. I mean, it's not even close to true.
After a year and a half, because like the person that said, I grabbed this massive Secret Service agent around the neck and I was rebuffed. And then I went to the other one. And I think he was like this big karate guy. And I went over there and I had friends that say, don't have it changed. It's so cool. You know, I said, no, I just want the truth.
That's right.
But they burned all that information. And I think she recanted. You know, I've heard she
No, you haven't. Recanted?
Recanted her. And after 2 years, she said, no, it didn't happen. Isn't it a shame, though, huh? Isn't it a shame? I view that as being so egregious. And then what did Biden do? I don't know, him or the auto pen. Whoever operated the auto pen was really the president, because I don't know.
Sorry, did you hand sign all 1,600 of the Jan 6ers who were freed?
Biden gave them all their freedom because they were dead. I mean, they literally, and you know how they announced it? It was like a little sentence in a document that nobody saw but me and a couple of others. It said, for the sake of clarity, we have decided to destroy all documents, destroy and delete all documents having to...
Yeah, nonsense.
So they worked for a year and a half.
You're right. It is. It's unbelievable. It is not believable.
Making everybody's life miserable.
Hell.
They realized that they were guilty as hell. You know, all those secret agents, Secret Service agents, they honestly testified. They testified in a very honest way. and everything was wrong for them. And rather than exposing what they did, the criminal acts, they created a criminal.
Sorry, who the fuck fell over in the background? What the shit was that?
And rather than exposing what they did, the criminal acts, they created a criminal act, and they did it like a really bad. But could you imagine if I deleted and destroyed all documents from? And this is.
Oh, you mean like the Mueller grand jury testimony?
Hearing
or the Epstein stuff you haven't released?
Deal.
You mean like all the stuff that the FBI found at Epstein's Island that's somehow in the wind?
That was set up that shouldn't have been.
Did it all get thrown out of a helicopter as they were flying back to the mainland? Where'd it go?
To go forward. And that's it.
Yeah.
So we can't even go after them because they were pardoned.
Right.
No, we're dealing with very corrupt people. We have a lot of corrupt people in our government.
Hey, Sean.
Well, we do now. By the way, I don't feel like we need to do more of that than usual. I just wanted to chip away at it. There's like 5 segments of that fucking thing. And I don't even know the order for which it goes, but Jesus Christ. Also, can I, let's see, let me fly this in. By the way, hit the like. Yeah, that's enough of Dotard. I agree. The primary thing that we're going to watch for, I guess, over the next couple of days is that according to Ulyat, the guy who was the spokesperson for the Pentagon under Hegseth, there's a bunch of stuff that's going to come out this week. So we will keep an eye out for this. But what I have been watching for is the only thing, and CSL will keep an eye out for it this week, is people coming to Hegseth's defense. Seems to be few and far between so far. Like in the second round anyways, in the last 24 hours. Now we'll see. Sometimes it takes the Greg Kellys of the world a little bit to respond to it, or Glenn Beck or those guys, like a couple of days for them to like build up the nerve to actually respond to any of this shit, right? But so far they just haven't. So far they're avoiding the conversation, or they are or they're hoping another story will eat it, eat the news cycle. Yeah. I mean, they're counting on like the tariff collapse, the Harvard story, whatever, to eat up the time that we're talking about, so that people will forget about this again. And it isn't going to work. It's not going to work. I'm just telling you. It is not going to work. This is going to keep haunting them. He's going to get tired of it. And the irony is that Trump is more than likely going to fire Hegseth, not because of the legit reasons why they should be gotten rid of. Okay? He won't fire him because of Signalgate and he endangered our troops, or that he's a drunk and a fuck up, or any of that stuff. He's going to fire him simply because he's tired of being asked the question. And that's why the news media has the responsibility to keep pressing him. And as soon as the House or the Senate can call Pete Hegseth in for an under oath hearing, that's it. That's it. Because one of two things will happen. He will tell the truth under oath, and it will reignite the whole thing and eventually get him fired, or he'll lie under oath and it'll be very telling because there will be evidence, and they will have either hidden the details and not preserved documents. And by the way, and then everything they've ever said about fucking Biden or Hunter Biden or Shemp Biden or Guido Biden, none of it will matter, because they'll show themselves that it wasn't so much that they found evidence that the Bidens were engaged in anything. It was that they viewed it as, if we got in there, we could get away with a bunch of shit. And they aren't. And that's pissing them off. Meanwhile, apparently, I suppose we will keep seeing Jimmy Dore going, my God, these amazing gadgets are just wonderful. Right? The Chinese are way ahead. It's so tiresome. It's going to be so tiresome. Good Lord. That said, I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. I'm going to go build a flying car with my 3D printer. I mean, look, everybody needs a goddamn hobby. Just saying.
Michigan gave us Motang. Michigan gave us Motang.
Happy Motang Monday, everybody. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. Hold on. I'll go with this one. I feel like this is the one I want right now. That's what I'm going to go. All right. Talk to you later. I got to eat something. What a day.